Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Generations of the Game podcast. We're on episode 9 with my boy Will Lyons. Will, what's going on, brother? How you feeling this evening?
Hey, bro, I'm good, man. 9 episodes in, man. Let's get it.
Let's get it, bro. Let's get it. So I guess we should start off first with the world of football. We're down to two. We're down to the final two, Will. We're down to Super Bowl Sunday next weekend. We'll make our predictions next week.
Yep.
It'll be close to the Super Bowl. But let's go over these games that we saw. First, we're going to go over, I guess, the main game of the day was Baltimore versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And Kansas City Chiefs beat Baltimore by the score of 17-10. There's a lot of defense played, hard-hitting game. I would say this. I think Baltimore, in my opinion, unraveled in that game with penalties and plays, a couple passes being off by Lamar. The defense came to play. The offense, they left a lot of points on the field, man. So what would you take from that game, the Baltimore-Kansas City game?
I'll be honest, man. First of all, credit to the Chiefs, but I was disappointed, man. I felt like this was possibly as good of a chance as the Ravens would get. Lamar having another stellar season, having a little more help, on the offense. But you're right, there was a lot of just misplays, man. Throwing the ball too high, throwing it past guys, things like that. And then, the defense of the Chiefs, man, those guys, they put pressure on Lamar, like you could argue like he's never seen in his career, They were dominant. It was like the Ravens really couldn't do anything. And, that offense, they played some good defenses last week. The prior week, they played the Texans. It was looking like a pretty even matchup early on, but they broke through. They started making those plays, big plays, putting some points up. And, typically Lamar will do something in the course of a game, and it just changes the dynamic of the game in the favor of the Ravens. But he was not able to do it, man. And I know I gave credit to the Chiefs, but I really got to give credit to that defense. Not to take away from Mahomes or anybody else, but we hear so much about the greatness of Mahomes, understandably, but that defense is top tier.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. With Snead, Chris Jones, and William Gay and all those guys they got back there. Man, let me tell you something, man. Chris Jones might be the best defensive tackle in football right now. I know we got Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has been for a number of years, but Chris Jones is right there with him, man. Just disrupts a lot of disruption on the front line that he causes. The corners are good with Snead and them boys back there, man. And the linebacker core, you're right. Their defense is outstanding. It's only going to get better because they're young. They're young. And we just talk about Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. He's one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. I mean, you think about it. He was the architect of when the New York Giants played those New England Patriots teams. Shut them down, especially 2017 when they went undefeated. Shut them down. He's a great coordinator, one of the best we ever seen. And what more can you say about Mahomes? He did enough for them to win. Did a lot of damage in the first half. And of course, Travis Kelce, he went off on them. What did he have? 6 catches for 115 yards, 6 or 7 catches, 115 yards. What did he score? I think he scored what? I know he scored a touchdown. Did he score 2 of them or?
Give me 1 second. Kelce had 11 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah. And
I believe he passed Jerry Rice too. For all postseason, touchdowns.
Man, and to me, Gronk, I thought Gronk was the best tight end ever, but Travis Kelce, I think, is That's past him is probably the greatest tight end that this game has ever seen, man. You know, he has all kinds of records at the tight end position. One of the best players we've seen. Also, all this year, people have been scolding them. They've been very much in the public eye. People have said bad things about this receiving core, but these playoffs, they have stepped up. They've stepped up big time, man. I like that rookie wide receiver they got, Rice. Yep. He's good. Mm-hmm. Pacheco, the running back, he's real good. He's from Vineland. He's real good, man. This team's going to be around for a minute, Will. This team is going to be around for a minute. And Patrick, well, we're going to discuss that in a second. But getting to Baltimore real quick, man. I really do believe they were too overhyped for this game. They were too overhyped for this game with the penalties they had. And Travis Kelce was in their heads. You could tell he was playing mind games with them, and they let him play mind games with him. Zay Flowers down there had a real big play. I guess was it 54, 55-yard play, and then all of a sudden he gets a penalty for taunting. Yep. I mean, you down by 10 points. You know, that wasn't, and I'm not going to criticize and get on the young man because I'm not out on the field. I don't know the emotions that he was going through. And, you know, and you're losing, you're a little frustrated, but, you know, you got to keep your head about yourself. You got to keep your head about yourself. But Lamar knows he left some plays on the field, man. And, you know, people say, well, he choked, the yada, 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 but he went to the AFC Championship game. Should they have played better? Yes. And we got to remember, Baltimore had a couple injuries too. Yeah. The rookie running back they had, I think the kid Mitchell, he was out. He tore his ACL. That was a big blow for that running game. Mm-hmm. And the running backs couldn't get off the way they did. Unless Lamar was running the football. I expect Baltimore to be around though. They do need to upgrade their receiving positions a little bit more. And they gave the ball to Odell Beckham, I think, a little late in that game. They should have maybe be passed a little bit more. I think Lamar should have played to his strengths because I think he was trying to prove himself to be a pocket quarterback and stuff a lot in that game. He should have mixed it up and played to what Lamar normally does.
No, I agree.
You know? Yeah. It was a learning experience for Baltimore, I really do believe. And I expect them maybe to be back there again next year. They're a very good team. Mm-hmm. They're a very good team.
Yep. And if Lamar is who we believe he is, he's going to use this as motivation.
He should. He still has to work a little bit on his game, man. But Lamar is a great player. Let's understand that. He'll have 2 MVP awards. Mm-hmm. You're a great quarterback if you get 2 MVP awards. So you know, and people talk about, did Baltimore have a bad season? How's that a bad season? They had the best record of football, and they went to the AFC championship game. Granted, they didn't go to the Super Bowl. However, they did have a successful season of going to the AFC championship game. Maybe next year they'll even go further. Next year they had a couple more pieces here, and you know, they get the running back and Mark Andrews is healthy again next year. I like that other side that they got lightly. He's going to be real good too. They have the weapons in place to be a real good football team. The defense played lights out in the second half because they only gave up they gave up no points in the second half actually because it was 17 to 10. They gave up nothing. Mm-hmm. So the defense played very good. Hamilton's good, and then you know the linebackers Quinn and Smith and all them and Clowney up front. I mean they have a very, very good, great defense. So I expect them to be back in the hunt definitely next year. But man, we got to talk about Patrick Mahomes real quick.
Absolutely.
6 years he's played in the NFL. This is his 6th AFC champion. This is his 6th AFC championship game. This is Super Bowl number 4 that he's in. He got 2 rings. We'll discuss that next week. What do we think? He gets 3 rings in 6 years. 3 MVP awards, 6 AFC championship games. He gets, like I said, 3 rings. With all that stuff he has, I don't, you know, of course, I tried to do GOATs. Brady's the GOAT. There's no question about that. But, man, Patrick Mahomes, man, in my opinion, he's the top 3 quarterbacks of all time.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion. The only 2 I got in front of him is Joe Montana because he was 4-0 in the Super Bowl games, and right now Brady. But if he wins this one, man,
he's walking him down.
He's walking everybody down, man. Let's talk about the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, man. Let's talk about him, Will. I mean, how do you see this guy, man, as far as not only in his historical sense, but also what he's doing right now, man?
I mean, to be honest, man, I like Mahomes, man. And one of the things that I like about him, he lets his game do the talking for him, and no matter what the media is saying, no matter what adversity he's facing on the field, he performs. When you think about it, people were talking like he was having a down season, and this is a season that most quarterbacks would have killed to have. I mean, just under 4,200 yards passing, 27 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is literally the prototype for the position, at this point. He's got an amazing arm. He's more mobile than he gets credit for. You see that, when the defenses are putting the pressure on him, he can get out and make some things happen, and he's just smart. Like, he throws some picks here and there, but when you throw the ball as much as he does, it's going to happen, but overall, when you look at the way he progresses through his reads, he's rarely making the wrong play. A lot of the times this guy's just not catching the ball, and for him to be, 28 years old, like you said, and have had the 6 years that he's had so far, and this season is not even finished for him. This is all-time stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mahomes is amazing, man. I mean, I was in Philly draft night when the Kansas City Chiefs drafted him, and I kind of figured how Andy Reid develops quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
When they got him, and they were talking about Mahomes before the draft and his arm talent and everything, I said, yo, Andy Reid might be on to something. Did I see this coming what he's doing now? No. But I said Andy Reid might be on to something. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why they moved to take him at number 10. I said, because if Andy, I said this back then to my friends and stuff. If Andy Reid develops this guy into what I think he can be, it's going to be scary. Did I see this though? No, I did not see this. And speaking of which, let's talk about Andy Reid for a minute, man. I think he's the only coach in football that has won 100 games with 2 different franchises. Mm-hmm. This is his 4th Super Bowl. No, this is his 5th Super Bowl. He wins this. This will be number 3 and 5. He's been to what 12 combined AFC, NFC championship games between Philly and here. Like, he's been like the 12 of them. Yep. We got to talk about Andy Reid as being one of the greatest coaches of all time. And if he sticks around for another 6, 7, 8 years or whatever, he might be, by the time it's done, he might be the greatest coach of all time. But I mean, let's talk about Andy Reid, man. How do you feel about Andy Reid?
I've always felt like Andy Reid doesn't really get the credit he deserves. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just look at, them not winning the Super Bowl when he was in Philly, when they had T.O. Well, there was like so many things going into that situation, T.O. playing injured, and everything. But when you look at the dominant teams that, he coached in Philly, the McNabb, Westbrook, Dawkins teams, and now moving over to another franchise and being even more dominant. I mean, it's crazy to see it, man. Like, Big Red, as they call him, he's easily one of the best coaches to ever do it. And, I feel like we don't hear that enough, mm-hmm. We always hear about Belichick, and a lot of other coaches, and I'm not saying they're not deserving. But, Andy Reid, if he's got to be inching towards that Mount Rushmore, you know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
Like if the body of work that he's put together and though I like the way you described the situation with Mahomes. Mahomes, yes, he had an arm and everything, but he did not come into the NFL this polished player like this. You know,
No, no, he was raw. He was raw coming out.
he was coached and mentored by what you would consider a quarterback guru, offensive genius. And don't get me wrong, Andy has commanded some good defenses as well. But you just look at the years that quarterbacks have had under Andy. There's no coincidence. This is somebody who really is, as they say, one of them ones.
And I'm gonna speak about Andy Reid, the man, though, too, as well. Andy Reid is a good man too. Is a good man too, man. I like Andy Reid as a person too, because I'm gonna tell you something, man. He gave a lot of brothers shots that a lot of people wouldn't have gave him, man. Especially when you look at Michael Vick. Mm-hmm. He gave Michael Vick a chance when Michael Vick was catching heat left and right. Andy stuck by him and brought him on. And I'm gonna tell you something. If Mike Vick had Andy Reid his whole career,
man,
he might have set all kinds of records, because you remember when we saw Mike Vick with the Eagles, he was still good, but that wasn't Mike Vick that we saw in Atlanta. Where the athleticism and stuff. But if Andy Reid would have had Michael Vick if he's a rookie, oh man, it would have been something special and crazy. Because I still say, Will, one of the top 2 or 3 games I ever seen a player play was when they played Washington that one year down in Washington, man. That quarterback play that Michael Vick played that night, that was some video game, something special type of thing. Because Mike Vick had, I mean, not only did he have the speed, but he had a cannon of an arm too. Yep. He had an arm too, man. If he would have really had some proper coaching, like Andy Reid was there with from the beginning, gosh, he might have been Patrick Mahomes, but with more, with more athleticism and speed, though. But yeah, the AFC Championship game is more of a defensive struggle, especially in the second half. But kudos once again, in order for you to be the man, as Ric Flair said, you got to beat the man. And kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs as we move on to the NFC Championship game, as we watch the San Francisco 49ers defeat the Detroit Lions. 24-7, they were up. I thought it was over. There was a key play of that game, 4th and 3. Instead of kicking a field goal, they went for it. That could have put them up by 10. Man, they should have took the field goal in that area, man. You gambled too much and it backfired on them. How did you feel about this game, man? Kansas City San Fran and Detroit, man. I really thought Detroit had San Fran on the ropes and they were ready to be knocked out. How did you see this game?
I mean, they did, man. They almost had it, and I think that's what happened. I think they thought that they had it, but it's not over until there's no time left on the clock,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did think, like most people did, that the 49ers would win. But after the start that Detroit had, I'll be honest, man, I thought it was over too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the word that I would have to use to describe this game is letdown, because they really, had they done a few things different, man, they would have been in the Super Bowl, and this isn't something that comes around, every year. I know it may look like it, the way Mahomes and the Chiefs are doing their thing and stuff like that, the way Tom Brady used to do it, but that's not regular,
No, that's few and far between.
The Lions ain't had a chance like this since I probably was an infant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Barry Sanders, yeah.
So, just to be real, they had a good year, and yes, they can improve and all of that, but there's no telling that they'll get back. It's no telling. But I do want to give credit, to the Niners, man. In spite of all the back and forth on him, and, the media and everything, man, Brock Purdy played a hell of a game.
He did.
McCaffrey did what McCaffrey does. 2 touchdowns. And Debo came back right on time. He was riding that bike through the hood. You know what I'm saying? Just in
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah, he
um,
was.
and a credit to that 49er defense, man. They got some playmakers, man. Like
Oh yeah.
big time. Bosa. And some of those other guys, man. But I just it still doesn't even almost feel real that the Lions, ended up losing like that, man.
Yeah, yeah. They sort of self-destructed, especially with offense. I don't know why they didn't run the ball a little bit more than what they did with their running backs. I know Gibbs fumbled the ball, but doggone it, you got to go back to him. That kid is very talented too. Him and
Yeah.
Montgomery, they should have fed the ball to them more, because they were gashing the Niners, especially in the first half. They were gashing that front seven, man. Um, yeah, it was a very good game. It was the guy for the Lions, Reynolds. He dropped a big that could have been a first, that could have been a touchdown that could have put them up, and he dropped that. You got to catch the ball. You got to catch those type of passes.
Mhm.
It was a good game, man. But the Niners came through, man. And like I said, next week we'll make our prediction on this game between the Lions and I meant the Lions. What am I talking about? The Chiefs and the 49ers. It's going to be a good. It's going to be a good one, and it's a rubber match from 4 years ago.
Yep.
So yeah. Um, as we move on to the world of the NBA, man, we got and you know what, Will? For pregame, we got to say this, man. Rest in peace. It was what 26. I guess it was what 26 was Monday. No, when was it? January 26th. That
January
was
January 26th was, hold on. What in the world? Oh, my calendar is tripping. Friday. Yeah.
last Friday, and we
Uh,
didn't give a shot. We didn't give a shout out, man. Man, one of the, in my opinion, man, the most tragic day in sports history happened 4 years ago on January 26th when we lost the great Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and I believe it was 7 other victims in the unthinkable, terrible helicopter crash, man. You know, I still can remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember at the time I'm gonna be real with it. I had a little bit of health issues at the time, and I remember I was laying down, and I just happened to be scrolling across the internet and stuff. Let me see what's going on, and it came across that Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash, and I looked at it for like 2 minutes, like, wait a minute, something ain't right. And then Sammy, rest in peace to our brother Sam, he called me. He was like, I said, Sam, I know. I said, I don't want to talk about it, man. I said, this is, I just can't believe it. Like, it was the unthinkable. I just can't believe it. And look, I've seen some deaths in my lifetime. I'm talking about outside of family, of course. I'm talking about celebrity deaths. I've seen Michael Jackson. I seen Prince. Walter Payton was my favorite football player of all time. I seen his death. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When Kobe passed, I actually cried a little bit. I actually cried. That's the first time I ever done that, for somebody outside of my family like that. We're friends. And the athlete, because I watched Kobe Bryant from I remember he used to come on the Sunny Hill show when he was in the 8th grade with his dad. And then you followed him through high school. They were talking about how good of a player he was going to be back then when he was 14 years old. And then you followed him. We went to Lower Marion. And I remember when Kobe Bryant played at Lower Marion. I'd never seen him live. That's my one regret. I missed the one game I was supposed to see him live, but they sold out. I saw videotapes and highlight clips like everybody else saw. I thought at that time he was the closest thing we were seeing to Michael Jordan. I said, this is the next Michael Jordan right here. He was amazing. And, then of course, we saw his career with the Lakers, and, we saw one of the best careers ever. And to lose him at the age of 42, man, and his daughter was coming up too, and everything, man. It was really the unthinkable that really happened. And I'm gonna say one more thing. Well, then of course I want you to speak on it. But then all the stuff came about Kobe, about all the great things he did for people that nobody knew about. He was very, very much concerned about people that were homeless. He wanted to build something for them. He all the kids, the school in Philly that he went to, and I guess basically adopted. It did stuff for the kids at the school in West Philly. In the video that they showed him, I guess about 1 or 2 months before he died, and there's a car accident. He got the car, and it's only Kobe could, because this is what leaders do. He's out there directing traffic, making sure everybody's okay. This is Kobe Bryant we're talking about. He's out there directing traffic. And that to lose him like this, man, and 4 years later, it still hurts, man. It really does, because you watch these games and stuff and everything. It's like, man, what would Kobe's take be on this? What was Kobe's take be on that? When you think about it, man, and it was a sad day then. It's a sad day now. It really was the unthinkable. Will, give your views on Kobe Bryant and that tragic day and in his career and his life, man.
Well, it's one of those moments in history where, I don't think anybody can forget, where they were, what they were doing, when you got the news. And it still doesn't feel real, what happened, the way that it happened, because, JP, I know you watched, the game for a long time, and Kobe, like, for a lot of people, it's LeBron now as far as like longevity, but Kobe played at that time, longer than any player that I had seen. Like, literally, his career started when I was like in kindergarten, and he played all the way up, to me being like an adult, and I feel like we felt like we grew with him, growing from, the early stage of his career with the air balls in the playoffs and stuff like that, and just seeing that mental fortitude that he applied to life, but he definitely on the court, the Mamba mentality that, they spoke about. And, hearing him talk about his love for the game, the way he would work out, 4 times a day, how when his opponents are sleeping, he's working to get the advantage. And this is somebody who's already great, already a champion, and I felt like he just inspired a lot of people. And we lost him when he had found new ways to inspire people. He was showing his basketball genius with his show Detail on ESPN, breaking down the game in analytical way that only somebody as great as Kobe could, and then the Mamba Skills Academy training, young athletes and training a lot of, female athletes. He worked with Sabrina Ionescu, Jewel Lloyd, who is a killer for the Seattle Storm, and just so many, of the women's players, have had, training sessions and just interactions with Kobe. He would be courtside with Gigi at the games, proudly wearing WNBA hoodies. I know a lot of people, they see Chris Paul now, they see LeBron, but Kobe really was that first, notable player to shine a different, light on the WNBA. He didn't view, he didn't look at WNBA like it was less than, he looked at it like you and I look at it. If you love basketball, that's basketball.
It's basketball.
Such, so, like you said, all the things he did off the court, but just the many ways, he was one of the truest and greatest ambassadors of the game, that we've ever seen, and I just think that, of course, going too soon, man, but I'm grateful that we got to, watch and, share in, his life, for the amount of time that we did have him, man. Kobe definitely, a superhero to a lot of us.
Yeah, yeah, man. I guess one more thing I was gonna say about man, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say about Kobe, man. Um, you know, man, like you said, his workouts. That's what I was going to tell you. That's what I was going to say. I was listening to Gilbert Arenas podcast last week, and they were talking about. I forgot who he had on. It might have been Gilbert or somebody. No, I think it was Gilbert. Was talking about when he was with the Lakers. It was some. I forgot who it was, but they were talking about Kobe. They said Kobe would call you 3 a.m. and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, yo, you should be at the gym, right? He'd be at the gym. He would be at the gym calling somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was talking to one of my friends last week, and we were talking about Kobe, and he said, yeah, he saw something on online with Michael Jordan, and he said that Kobe would call him 1 o'clock in the morning, picking his brain, like, wow, like, what do you think I should do with this play and that play? He's like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. He's calling me about, this, that, this, and that. I watched the interview with Tim Thomas. It was about about a year or two ago, and he was saying that they were at the Adidas All American camp, and he was there because Tim Thomas was number one, and he said, all the players were fraternizing with each other, and they were, but Kobe would always stay in his room, and the reason why he stayed in his room was because he was studying Tim Thomas, because he said he's number one player. I could be the number one player in the country. That's what he wanted to be. His work ethic was really second to none. I remember when a Lakers player, I forgot who this Lakers player was, but he's like, yeah, I remember we came back from a club one night and we rode past the Lakers practice facility. He said it's like 2:30 in the morning and the lights are on. Inside there, like, man, who's in there at 2:30 in the morning? When they said they saw Kobe's car for it's Kobe there. He's working out his game 2:30 in the morning. He's up there working. His work ethic was second to none, man. And I'll never forget one time, Sonny Hill, I was listening to his show one time. This was years ago. Sonny Hill was talking about Kobe, and he said that he went to his locker, and Kobe seemed to be down. And he was like, he asked him, he said, well, Kobe, what's wrong? Like, you seem to be a little sad. And he said that Kobe told him, he was like, Mr. Sonny, people don't understand. I'm not playing against the players of the day. I'm playing against history. That's what he says. I'm chasing the greats, the greats historically. Those are the players that I'm looking at that I have to catch and basically be with. And with that being said, Will, Kobe was definitely one of the all-time greats. I don't do GOATs or anything like that there, but if I had a table, he would definitely be sitting at that first table. And all we can say is, man, rest in peace to all the victims of that day. His daughter Gigi, and of course, our prayers and everything still go out to Vanessa Bryant and the family and stuff. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When that first happened, I couldn't watch Kobe videos for like a year. I could not watch him not playing, nothing. I couldn't watch it. That's how much of an impact his death had on me. I couldn't watch it, man. But man, we salute and may the great Kobe Bryant, and all those victims that day, may they rest in peace, man. It was like you said, man, for us, for a celebrity, it was the most tragic day I think we've seen in our lifetime, man. People talk about Roberto Clemente and what happened to him, and and everything like that there. Like I said, Michael Jackson, we've seen it, man. But Kobe, man, that was, man, boy, that day was just it was the unthinkable. And may everybody that was involved with that, from the pilot to everybody there, man, may they rest in peace, man. That's all I can say. But Will, moving on also to the with the NBA, we got to talk about, this is all 2-in-1. It's basically all the same thing. Joel Embiid and the load management. As we've known now, Joel Embiid came out tonight, has a torn meniscus. And they basically say they're going to rehab and getting ready. I agree. I kind of agree with Kendrick Perkins what he said yesterday about maybe shutting Joel Embiid down for the year, man, and getting ready for next year. You know, the Sixers have all kinds of cap money. Get him ready, get him healthy, get him revved up and everything for next year, you know, and make a run next year. First off, there's a misconception out there. People were saying, "Oh, he's ducking smoke with Joker, with Jokic and everything." That wasn't the case. What happened was, and they said this on broadcast, and people always come with their own narratives, of course. He was out there practicing, going through his regular practice, you know, shoot around and stuff. The medical staff saw something wrong with his knee, and they decided to shut him down. Everybody went to a tissy fit. Oh, he don't play. He don't do this and that and the third. Guess what, Will? You saw it and I saw it. The other night, the man went out there, played against Golden State, couldn't even get off the ground. Didn't have no lift whatsoever. Couldn't jump nothing. He couldn't jump over a phone book that night.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happens? Now he has a worse knee injury than before. But you know, and I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to say this. You know, you spoiled ass fans out there talking about oh, he should be playing. I'm paying a ticket up watching TV. What the hell is more important? A meaningless regular season game that you want to be entertained with, or bringing a championship to your team? What's more important? I want to know. Kawhi Leonard had the same thing with knee injuries and injuries and stuff. He was at Toronto. They knew what he was getting, but guess what? They rested him. The playoffs were important. They won a championship. So these fans need to decide what is more important to them. They're a meaningless regular season game to keep you entertained, or this man bringing you a championship and being healthy. We're going to come back to that low management. Speak on this, brother. Please speak on this.
I mean, I think you make an excellent point. And sadly, like, I think a lot of fans, they can't see beyond themselves, and they don't realize that, you know, you can't, as they say, have your cake and eat it too. You know, do you want, you know, arguably the best player in the world right now, you know, healthy for a playoff push? Or do you care about if he qualifies for MVP or not? You know, do you care about him being at a particular game or not? You know, Embiid is having a historic season, but it's meaningless now. You know, I'm not saying what he did was meaningless, but as far as the way he was carrying the franchise along with Maxey and the other players, you know, that's pretty much out the window now. And I do think, you know, when you're talking about knee injuries, especially on a big man like that can move the way that he can move, you have to take it seriously. I think you should shut him down because, you know, forcing him to play or bringing him back too soon, you know, now you're jeopardizing your future, you know, and realistically, you know, as long as the front office continues to do what they've been doing, you have a chance almost every year if Embiid is healthy. You know, you at least have a chance at winning the East, you know, and you got Maxey locked up for years, you know, and like you said, they're going to have some money. You know, they got Harden off the cap. I mean, Tobias is playing the best basketball he's played as a Sixer. I mean, everything was looking up, man. But sadly, this is how it goes, you know, and it truly is a shame, man, because, you know, I feel like people look at it like ducking the smoke, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, like you said, the medical staff saw something and they weren't wrong. And on top of it, you know, I don't care about what you're saying about load management. If I went out and I dropped 70, I'm entitled to a damn rest if I want one. You know, what I mean? Like, that's the reality of it, you know. But it came out. He actually was already hurt. And now, you know, as beyond hurt, he's truly injured. You know, and now the season is probably a wash.
Yeah, get him ready for next year. Get whoever you need to get with this free agency. Make some moves. Do whatever you need to do. Bring him back healthy, because I don't think he's ever had a very healthy season.
Nope.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Part of it is I do believe that Joel has to be getting in a little better shape coming into the year as well. That will help out. That will help out with his knees and stuff, and everything, man. Because look, man, let me tell you something. This guy is a special talent. I've said this before. Some people disagree with me. I don't care. But you can name me a center you've ever seen in the history of the NBA that has a 3-point that can shoot from 3-point range, mid-range game, and bully you down beneath. He has the three tools. He's a 3-tool player. He can handle the ball. I don't like to see him handle the ball a lot, but he can handle a little bit. His passing has gotten better. He can rebound. He can block shots. He's a complete setter. He might be the most complete setter I've seen in my lifetime. And as far as scoring, gosh, to be honest with you, he's right up there with the Kareems and Wilt was on another level. But I'm saying he's in that realm though with them as far as scoring. Kareem and Wilt and all them. They're the best scoring centers of all time. Embiid's right up there with them. And of course you got to put Shaq in there too. Shaq can score a lot of points too. So, Moses, them guys, talk about dominant players. Joel Embiid is a dominant player, man. It's just a shame that we haven't seen him healthy throughout the playoffs. But I'm hoping that if not this year, which I agree with you, and what Kendrick Perkins said, that they need to shut him down for the year. Hopefully next year he'll have even the best year. And if he has to miss some games, he has to miss some games. Mm-hmm. It's simple as that. But we hope he gets better. As we talk about this load management, man, it seems to be the thing nowadays. Players have to play 65 games, of course, to win awards, MVP awards or whatever. In my opinion, man, come on, man. Come on. I say 55 to 60 games. Like 65 games. If we don't know what a player could do after 50 games, then what the hell are we talking about? What difference does it make whether they play 50 or even 65 games? People talk about, it's load management. There's been some players that have legitimately been hurt. Kawhi Leonard has been legitimately hurt. Joel Embiid has been legitimately hurt. Even people talk about Ben Simmons. Oh, Ben Simmons is doing low, man. He's doing this. Ben Simmons has had some injuries. You see that with his back, his knees. He's had some injuries. Kyrie's had some injuries too. Harden's had some injuries too. What are we talking about? If a player is completely healthy and available to play, yeah, okay, they should be able to play. But why should a player risk his career for a damn meaningless regular season game because you fans want to see it? Again, I ask the question, what is more important? A meaningless regular season game that you want to be entertained with, or a championship, or see these players at their best in the playoffs? What is more important? That's all I'm asking. What is more important?
I agree. They need to really take a hard look at it because I do agree with you. Now, I feel like availability is, a big thing. It is
right.
Important for sure. Maybe you can somehow fold that into the vote, how the voters are looking at things. But to say that somebody is just disqualified because they missed, 17, 18 games or whatever it is, that's crazy. Because I feel like, for one, you should look at the body of work of that player, how many minutes playing, look at the load that they carry for their team. And another thing that has to be considered too is how many years they've been in the league, because somebody, 9 to 15 years into the league, that's a lot of wear and tear on your body.
That's a lot of wear and tear.
No matter what type of, regimen or care you put into, your recovery, that's still a lot of wear and tear, man. And, these guys, they're the best in the world for a reason. they're driven to be great players, and I do think it's disrespectful when it's framed like, oh, Embiid's ducking, the Joker or whatever the case may
Come on,
be.
man.
That's not what's going on here. Realistically, now if you're talking about Game 7 NBA Finals, and he's healthy, of course, yeah, you better be out there. These are the legacy defining moments. But
Mm-hmm.
a regular season game that 5 years from now nobody's going to remember, who cares? I'm not risking further injury, and I'm not risking, what puts food on the table for my family. You know what I mean? Because you have, no disrespect, a $75 ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, and people say, oh, well, Michael Jordan played 82 games. Oh, this one played 82 games. This one and that one. But a lot of them players you look at now, they're broken up.
No, barely
Because
walk.
they play every doggone minute, every second and stuff, and some of them still don't get a damn thank you from people and stuff. Broken by. I'll give you a good example. I know this is a different sport. Look at football. Look at Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell barely can't even walk.
Yep.
He in a damn wheelchair. And why is that? All them years, the 9 years of him abusing his body and stuff and everything. You think that man deserved a game or two off? All the abuse he took? We got people sitting there criticizing these athletes and these players and stuff for what they do. They can't even hit the side of a damn Nerf ball on a basket. They pull a fingernail. Oh, I'm hurt. But we're going to sit up here and talk about guys who practice, who play, and everything like that there. We're going to criticize them for them taking a game off to take care of their bodies. And then what happens? When they get hurt, when they get a doggone tear an ACL or they're out for the year, they will he shouldn't have played. So what again? The final question is again, what is more important? What is it? A meaningless regular season game or an NBA championship? Because I thought we were playing for championships, not for a damn ABC game, not for a TNT game, but for championships. That's what I thought made legends. All right, well, we went off a soapbox on that one, man. But as we move on, we're still in the world of the NBA, folks. Today, this evening, the All-Star reserves were announced for the NBA All-Star game. Will, you get the reserves in front of you?
Yep,
if you may, please.
Yep, I'll start with the Western Conference. You got Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Paul George, and Karl Anthony Towns.
I have no problem with any of that. With any of them, no problem. The one player, give me them players again. Give me them players again that you said.
Kawhi, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Steph, Paul George, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I would say the one player I would have put on there that's debatable. Kyrie's always debatable, but the one player, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but him, maybe he should have been on there. The two players I'm thinking about right now is Kyrie, but I'm thinking about James Harden too. James Harden came in there, man. He's playing some ball with the Clippers, man. And he came in there and made a difference running the point. Kawhi and Paul George, no problems. Maybe come on, man. They're two Hall of Famers right there. We're talking about. Kawhi's having. I love to see Kawhi back to what he's doing, man. Because Kawhi, in my opinion, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 player in this game. Maybe even top 3, top 2, or wherever you want to put him at. Because Kawhi plays both ends of the court. He's as good on defense as he is on offense. He could score. He could do a lot of things for you, man. He does it all. Paul George doesn't get the respect I think he deserves neither at times. Paul George is a big time player. I had no problem with him being on there. Karl Anthony Towns is having a great year. Anthony Edwards, he's going to be a perennial. This is going to go on for the next, I can say, 10 to 15 years with him.
Yep.
So, Steph is Steph, man. We know that, perennial all-star. But in the faces of the league, he was going to be on there. But overall, though, I have no problems with the picks that they have. What about you? How did you feel about the picks?
So I feel like all of the picks are fair. I think that you could argue, minus the fan vote, Anthony Davis definitely deserves his spot.
Yeah. Great year.
They all do. And it's a situation I couldn't make a case to take anybody off, but I do. I think you had some good ones with Harden and Kyrie. Kyrie, I know he's missed some time, but I would say two players, and they're actually from the same team that deserve consideration. Sacramento Kings, man, De'Aaron Fox having a hell of a year, and Sabonis.
Right. It's a bonus. You forgot about them. Right. Wow.
Fifth in the West with no All-Star, so that's kind of hard, but I get it. So, I saw people arguing that Towns maybe shouldn't have made it, but they've been, the number one seed in the West for pretty much the whole season. And historically, you have to reward winning. A lot of times the top seed sometimes gets three guys. So they got two, justifiably so. So I don't have an issue with any of these guys, man. They're all playing, carrying teams, man. And that's
yeah. I thought maybe Wembanyama might get on there. I thought maybe he had a shot at getting on there too, but he'll be on there for the next 15 to 20 years and starting next year. So,
bro, I was voting for Wemby. Another one I forgot from Houston, Sengun.
I forgot about him too.
It's just not enough spots, man. We got a lot of
spots. It's not enough spots, man. But let's move on to the East.
All right,
the East was in the house.
Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, Tyrese Maxey, and Paolo Banchero.
I have no problem with that neither.
Nope.
I really have no problem with that either. Congrats to Tyrese Maxey, man. Of course, I'm a big time Sixers fan. He better have been on that team, man. He better have been on that team. And that young man, you've seen him at Kentucky, man, and we've seen the potential there. Then is only year at Kentucky, and we didn't see him in the NCAA tournament because we had COVID back then. But John Calipari always said that they had the NCAA tournament, he'd been a top 10 pick. That pick right there, the Sixers pick, that's one thing they hit a home run on, was getting Tyrese Maxey, man. And he's a special player. Let's see. Banchero definitely deserved it. He's one of the best young, brightest stars we got in this league right now. Could do it all. Take you inside, outside. Jalen Brunson, he should have been on the team last year.
Yep.
They finally got it right this year. He's carrying. He's helping carry the Knicks, man. He's putting them on his back. He's carrying them, man. And man, once he gets going, you can't stop him, man. You can't stop him, And kudos to him. He definitely deserved it. Julius Randle, yeah, he's having a great year. It's too bad he got hurt last week, but Julius Randle's having a good year. I have no problem with him. Who are the other ones again? Who are the
Jaylen Brown, Donovan
Mitchell. No problems with either of them. Perennial all-stars. No problem. Is anybody that you think should have been on that team that might have been missing?
So I know the trend here is reward on winning, which is important. But I feel like there are certain guys that their numbers, it's kind of hard to look past. And again, I don't know who you take off, but I want to say, what is this, 2 years in a row that Trae Young isn't an all-star?
That's crazy. That is crazy.
He's averaging 27 and almost 11 assists a game.
And not an all-star. That's crazy.
Like I'm not even saying a starter, but not making it at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild. But
I'll
hey,
tell you another player. I give you another player I think that deserves credit, deserves consideration too. Mikal Bridges.
yeah, I agree.
He should have been in. Maybe they need to expand these teams from 12 to 15. Maybe they need to start doing that. 15 on each squad. Maybe they need to start doing that.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I feel like
Me neither.
a lot of the former players will probably be mad, but I wouldn't be.
15? What's wrong with that? Because then you can obviously say, okay, these are the best. You know who else didn't make it either? Laurie Markman didn't make it from Utah. How?
That's another one. Yeah.
How?
Certified baller.
Certified. You can make a case for Cade Cunningham. I know he's had injuries. He plays, Detroit's an up-and-coming team. They'll be better next year. Detroit is, but he's having an all-star type of year. I mean, I don't have a problem. Jimmy Butler didn't make it, and Jimmy Butler, he's a perennial all-star too. I'm just trying to think of DeMar DeRozan. And what's the name? The other guard that's there with him, Levine. Wow. They need to expand this, man. They need to expand this to 15 players apiece. Like you said, a lot of good players are home, man. They're at home. But shout out to those who made the all-star team. Overall, yeah, I'm saying they need to expand it, but they basically, the players that are there deserve it. The players that are there deserve it. So, we will definitely go with that. Well, we have no choice but to go with it. We don't get no NBA vote, so so we'll go with that. As we move on now to the world of college basketball. Well, let's start off with the men's game. We're going to save the best for last. Let's start with the men's NCAA so far. What we're seeing. Man, this tournament looks like it's going to be wide open this year. Who are the contenders and who are the pretenders?
Man, I think, of course I'm biased, but I think a fully healthy Kentucky should be, a contender if they can shore up the defense. There's a team in the Big East, I know we talked about before starting the show, that looks great, and I'll let you, talk about them. But it's anybody can get it, man. Like you said, like this season, we've seen upset after upset. It's a weekly thing at this point. There used to be a time where upset was like rare. Now it's like you almost you're just waiting to see which game is going to be the upset. I think it's a credit to the level of coaching across the country. For example, Damon Stoudemire at Georgia Tech.
Doing a hell of a job.
Jeff Eagle at Pitt, guys that really elevating their programs. Lamont Paris at South Carolina. You got great jobs, and also the work of the transfer portal. The talent is being spread out in a way that it has not been before. So you may have a guy that's a fifth-year senior, or maybe just didn't get as many touches at his previous program, getting new life now, and they look at a lot of these, blue blood programs and high rank programs as their chance to make their name.
Yeah. I agree, man. That team that you said I was going to mention, they're gearing up for a repeat, man. It looks like. And that's the UConn Huskies, man. They play Big East basketball, man. Which is tough, physical, hard nosed. And their players, Carrigan in the middle, he's a low 7'2". They got great guard play with Newton, and now you got this kid Castle, who was a top 10 recruit in the country. He's starting to come on now. He's starting to show his potential, and Man, UConn right now, I think UConn right now, in my opinion, might have to be the favorite. Not only are they the defending champions, but they're just as good as they were last year. And they lost a lot of players from last year. But man, Danny Hurley, man, they're back. We have to talk about UConn being a top 3 to 5 program of all times as well. We have to. They have what? They have what? 5 national championships?
Yep.
Especially the last 25 years. I'm trying to think. How many does Duke have? Duke has 5 too. I believe Duke has 5. But 2 of those were won during the Leitner era, so they've had 3. So if I go over the last 25 years, 99 and 2024, UConn might be actually the best program in the country. Duke is right there. Come on, man. It's them and Duke and everybody else basically. But UConn really has a program where you combine the men and women. There's no question who the best program is when you combine both of them. But and I think UConn's here to stay, man. Danny Hurley's coming there, and he's done a great job as a coach. It's going to be interesting coming down the stretch. Houston's going to be a tough team that you're going to have to deal with as well. Calvin Sampson's done a hell of a job at that program and turn around. Baylor with Scott Drew, University of Texas, they're going to be good. Kansas is still like they're a work in progress, trying to get themselves together. But Bill Self will get this team ready by the time tournament time comes. We know this. Illinois looks like they're a tough team in the Big Ten this year. But yeah, man. Of course, like you said, Kentucky, the SEC is tough. As a matter of fact, the big games on Saturday, Kentucky versus Tennessee. And who's that kid that Tennessee has? Number 3, the forward. What's his name?
Dalton Connect.
Lottery pick.
SEC player.
That's gonna be a great game. Because you got Duke and Carolina, and you got Kentucky and Tennessee at the nightcap, man. It's gonna be a great day. Great day.
And they all coming off losses too.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a good one. As we move on to the college women's game, real quick, we want to talk about that, man. Man, we need to talk about somebody right now. She's running neck and neck to me with Juju Watkins. We got to talk about this dynamic point guard at Notre Dame named Hannah Hidalgo. She's from our area, South Jersey. Man, let me tell you something, man. I told one of my friends this the other day. She's the best women's player we've had in this area. We've had out of this area since Dawn Staley. And people forget, Dawn Staley was actually a National High School Player of the Year when she came out of Dobbins in '88. Dawn Staley was a great scorer in high school. She could score, period. But this Hannah Hidalgo, though, man. I watched her last Saturday night against UConn. She put on a clinic. Shooting, passing, defending, stealing the ball. Well, she is something special. She's box office. You pay to see her play. How do you feel about her game and what we're seeing so far?
I mean, Hannah, she's a phenomenal talent, and I don't throw this word around loosely, but I do think she has the look of potential generational player. Just being real. I mean, her frame is small, but she's the biggest competitor on the court at all times. There's no holes in her game. She's extremely smart, with the ball, and I like the way you talk about her defense because, we do see players rack up steals that don't really play defense, but she gets into, the offensive players. She really, takes that challenge, puts pressure on the ball, gets a lot of steals, and has been elevating a Notre Dame team who's been without one of the best players in the country in Olivia Miles. For them to only
Yeah.
have 4 losses, another Jersey player, by the way, but for them to only have 4 losses, and I mean, they won tonight by, they just missed winning by 40 against Georgia Tech. She had 35 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 steals. I mean, at this point, we're not talking about freshman of the year. We're talking about she should be a first team All-American and a player of the year candidate.
There's a chance that we might have 2 freshmen on the first team All-American team. Her and Juju Watkins. Those 2 might be there. Of course, we all know the player of the year is going to be Caitlin Clark. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. She's going to be the college player of the year, man. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to these conference tournaments and of course the NCAA tournament, man. I love the men's tournament, but the women's tournament this year, like it was last year, in my opinion, it's going to be must-see TV.
Oh, yeah.
Especially you got Dawn Staley in South Carolina rolling. You got Caitlin Clark in Iowa. You got Notre Dame. Never could count out UConn, and you never could count out LSU. Never could count those teams out. I thought you made a good point last week. I think we talked off the air. I don't think it was on the show, but you said that LSU, you feel was lacking a true point guard.
Yep.
And that's their biggest downfall this year. They're having a great year. They lost 3 games. They lost 3 games this year. Anybody else would be great year, but because of the defending champions and all the players they brought in, and they got some talented freshmen, we thought they would be like number 1. Especially with Angel Reese, and everybody. But it's college women's basketball, y'all. If you ever seen the game, you need to take a look at it, man. It's a real good game. It's a real good game. And of course, we have the NCAA tournament for the men's coming up by March. They call it March Madness. They don't call it March Madness for nothing. But I would stay away from a national champion this year because, in my opinion, it's the best. Whoever looks the best in 6 games is going to win it all this year. That's a lot. Although right now, if I had a favorite, it would definitely be UConn.
Yep.
It would definitely be UConn. But Will, man, another great show, brother, that we put together for the people here. Another great show. And shout outs to our loyal, loyal watchers and listeners and everything. And before we go, I have to say a special. We got 2 things we need to say. Our friend Sammy, of course, Sammy J, his father just passed away this weekend, and want to say definitely a rest in peace to his father Marshall, man. And we'll speak on that for a minute, brother. If you may.
Absolutely, man. Marshall was a genuine soul, man, a kind man, had a good sense of humor. He used to give me a lot of, flack about being a Navy sailor, as he is but, a true family man that loved his wife and raised an amazing son, that was one of the closest, people to me, at my time on this planet. So definitely rest in peace to him, It's a sad day, he's no longer here, but, grateful to have, another ancestor and angel, looking over us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Marshall was a good guy, man. I've known him for since before Sammy was born. Greg said, great family man, great man. Knew his sports too. Because Sammy, I remember Sammy told me that when Doc Rivers first got hired, Sammy told him, there's only one doctor, and that's Doc Rivers. He almost ran Sammy out the house, man, talking that nonsense. I said, I don't blame him. I was ready to come over there too and run you up out of the house saying it, talking about putting Doc Rivers over Dr. J. Are you crazy? But it was all jokes, though, of course, but his dad used to get on Sammy sometime, though, about some of his sports takes, though. He used to get on him, man. But rest in peace, definitely to brother Sam, of course, his father Marshall, and definitely, man. We're gonna be there not only with prayers. We want to uplift our sister. His mom Nancy, man. She's gonna need us, man. To get her through this, man. And we there definitely. And also, I have to wish my mother and father a happy 55th anniversary, man. The anniversary was today, February 1st. It's a of course, it's a sad day. I lost my father back in July. And I couldn't imagine being with somebody for 54 years, and then they're not here, man. I had my dad for 52 years, man. And it's hard. I ain't gonna sit up here in front and say, oh, because every day you think about. I mean, I think about my pops every day, man. Just wish he was here for his 55th. And life is something, bro. That's all I can say is life is it's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of stuff that you don't expect that you see. And it's like I said, whether you lose a son or a parent or whatever, it's something that you can never prepare for. I don't have no kids, so I don't know what that's like, but if I can imagine, I know what it's like to lose a parent, and that's something I wouldn't wish on anybody, man. Going through something like that. But anyway, on an upbeat note, everybody out there, you have yourself a good weekend and enjoy yourself. As always, be safe, and we'll see you next week on the other side. As we say, peace.
Peace.